offerings in their college. Dr. Michael Casson, Dean for the College of Business, and Dr. Nandita Das will present on offerings in the College of Business, followed by Dean Marche Horton from our College of Health and Behavioral Sciences, along with Dr. Kara Gomez. And then finally, Dr. Francine Edwards, Dean for our College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences, will, along with Dr. Ordner Taylor in our College of Health, Education, and Social Sciences, an instructor. Next slide, please. So academic affairs, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our faculty, chairs, deans, again, the teaching and research subgroup for their work over the summer. They have been busy discussing how we would transition for the fall. Back in May, we held a faculty forum. The charge that I gave to the deans was to, again, decrease or continue to decrease the university's fingerprint on campus, again, prioritizing and protecting our vulnerable populations. Faculty to look at ways to develop and deliver our curriculum in a virtual format where possible, and to identify courses that will require any in-person coordination and delineate how that would look. Our staff from the provost office and the dean's office will be remoting in this fall, 1 to 2 days per week. All of our meetings will be held remotely. We will be maintaining social distancing per the CDC guidelines. We will be maintaining all of our automated processes. We will not be managing any of our processes manually at this point. Next slide, please. We will now hear from Dr. Gwen Scott Jones, and she will discuss the findings from our crisis management teaching research subgroup.
Okay.
Dr. Scott Jones.
Thank you, Dr. DeLauder. I first want to tell everyone good morning and thanks for attending. I just want to make mention to the committee members who served on the crisis management teaching and research subcommittee. As Dr. DeLauder stated, we had a lot of hard work and deliberations made. Ms. Terry Jeffries, who was also the vice chair, Dr. Alexa Silver, Dr. Kashtania, Dr. Melissa Harrington, Dr. Venegal Paul, Caliva Charla, and Dr. Terrell Holmes, and Dr. Clatrice Watson served as our committee liaison. Next slide, please. Okay, President Allen and the university's COVID management team determined that approximately 75% of the student population could return back to campus. Now, the crisis management teaching and research subgroup worked diligently to devise a plan that would keep the students and faculty safe. We researched what other universities and colleges were doing and found that we had to create plans that were tailored for DSU's infrastructure, the students, and faculty. Please note that due to the nature of the COVID pandemic, the course delivery plan is not static. The crisis management teaching and research subgroup submitted a fall preparedness course delivery spreadsheet to each department chair to determine which courses could not be taught in an online or hybrid format. The courses that cannot be taught online or in a hybrid format will be taught face-to-face with CDC guideline protocols in place. That means social distancing, personal protective equipment, and contact tracking and tracing. Now, approximately 85% of traditional courses can be taught in a hybrid, virtual, face-to-face synchronous manner. And 15% of the courses with labs, high performance, experiential needs, physical activity, and production have been identified for face-to-face instruction. The traditional course and online course schedules will look the same in Banner. However, faculty should notify the students via Blackboard and in the course syllabus how you plan to meet and deliver instruction prior to the first day of class. Faculty are encouraged to work closely with their department chairs pertaining to the delivery of instruction and class meetings, dates and times, whether virtual or face-to-face. Next slide, please. As you can see, I wanted to alert everyone of the terms. I'm quite sure that you have seen a lot of terms and probably read some literature yourself, but these are operational terms for Delaware State University pertaining to our fall opening. Online implies that all learning will occur in an online environment. The course does not have a set time to meet per the DSU schedule, but if possible, you might work out times to meet that can work with your student schedules. Asynchronous. Students and faculty complete their work on their own schedule within the expectations of the course. Students and faculty do not meet face-to-face in the course, nor do they have scheduled class periods. In this version, you could always do office hours to give students the opportunity to check in with you and ask questions. Note, DSU's online courses will continue to be delivered in an online asynchronous format as usual. Synchronous. Synchronous means that there are some portion of the course where the students and faculty meet together at the same time. This is easily done using Blackboard Collaborate or MS Teams, but there are also other ways to make that happen. Hybrid. In hybrid courses, students complete work on their own in their online learning environment, but they can also have set times to meet with the professor and other students. In these courses, you can use many tools to create learning activities for your students. Some can do the work on their own, and others that you have to do while meeting in class. You can have in-class activities. DSU's hybrid approach to course delivery will combine virtual face-to-face or face-to-face classroom instruction with online activities. Therefore, all scheduled traditional courses for fall 2020 will be delivered in a hybrid synchronous format. Next slide, please. And here are some takeaways. The advantages of synchronous learning, classroom engagement. The learner engages in active discussions. There's immediate feedback with real-time interaction with faculty and students. The synchronous learning experience is an especially important distinction to make the transition from the traditional classroom to an online setting. The personal contact through live video conferencing, lecture broadcasts, or messenger chatting makes it a lot easier for this transition. Essentially, students can have all the personal engagement of a classroom experience. Then we also have dynamic learning. Synchronous online learning allows for a more dynamic exploration of topics, ideals, and concepts. Video conferencing, for instance, makes it possible to ask questions and receive answers in mid-lesson, to discourage and debate with classmates at a brisk and exciting pace, to collectively drive a conversation into unexpected directions. There is a speed and immediacy to synchronous online learning that, at its best, evokes the same level of accountability and engagement as classroom attendance. And last but not least, instructional depth. The learner interacts frequently with professors and receives accessible and supportive instruction in synchronous online learning courses. It provides the learner with regular opportunity for face-to-face discussions and individual guidance. Thank you, Dr. Delano.
Thank you, Dr. Scott Jones. We'll now hear from Dr. Clatrice Watson, and we will proceed with the schedule as noted.
She's mute.
You're on mute. Clatrice.
I'm sorry. Good morning. Greetings from the staff in the Office of Student Success and the William C. Jason Library. We are looking forward to serving our students and our faculty this fall. Next slide, please. So the Office of Student Success is located in the William C. Jason Library. Next slide, please. Next slide again. Thank you. So just to give you an overview how our operations will be this fall, could you go back one? Okay. All staff will work on a 2-day on, 3-day telework schedule, and that schedule will be posted online once it's solidified, once the semester starts. Individuals with underlying health conditions or they care for family members who are considered high risk may request additional telework days or full-time telework to reduce the risk of exposure. Each day, Monday through Friday, there will be a division administrator on site to provide oversight and management of staff and daily operations. Those administrators are Ms. Darso Segby. She's the Senior Assistant Vice President for the Office of Student Success. Cassandra Green, Assistant Vice President for the Office of Student Success. Tracy Hunter Hayes, the Director for Library Services. And Shonda Poe, the Director of the Honors Program. Next slide, please. So just to go over some of our student engagement activities, I would like to start with academic advisement. Academic advisement has been fully remote, and we will continue to provide services in the virtual format. I apologize. Students who need to meet with their advisors must do so by schedule appointments only, and you can use Appointment Plus to make those appointments. We encourage all appointments to be done virtually, but if there is a need for a student to meet with their advisor face-to-face, again, that appointment needs to be made. Each student will be required to complete the COVID-19 screening prior to coming to campus. If students are housed on campus, you won't need to complete that form, but you do need to make an appointment with your advisor. Due to the remote work environment, advisors are not in the office right now. Once we return to our 2-day work schedule, then there will be someone here to answer your call. But please refrain from calling the offices. The best way to reach your advisor or any staff member is by way of email. Provide a phone number and we will get back with you very soon. The advisor directory is located on the OSS website. And if you have any questions, please reach out via email. If you have an immediate concern, you may contact the Senior Assistant Vice President Darso Segby, and she asked me to provide her phone number as 302-505-0032. Student Accessibility Services, which is managed by Ms. Dr. Ann Netler, may be reached at this email that's present on the screen. And if you have any questions about student accommodations, just note that all services will be provided virtually as they have been since March. And Dr. Netler will be happy to respond to you and make sure that all of your accommodation needs are met. Integrated Academic Support Services, which is managed by Ms. Anna Cortez, is where you would have access to tutoring and student support services. Please note that all tutoring services are free to all students. Virtual sessions will be led by our DSU tutors Monday through Friday, and some weekend hours. Supplemental instructors will provide study groups for targeted historically difficult courses. Again, a list of that information will be posted on our website. Our tutorial center offers services for chemistry, biology, physics, psychology, and our general education courses. There will be limited face-to-face tutoring led by our DSU tutors. Again, we encourage virtual meetings opposed to face-to-face meetings. Tutor.com is 24/7 online tutoring for almost every subject. Please contact the Tutoring Center for assistance. Our computer lab, as well as our writing studio, are available, and they will be open once the semester begins, but we will take appointments for usage. Again, we are encouraging you to utilize our services virtually. The Honors Program. The Honors Program is managed by Ms. Shonda Poe. If you've already been accepted into the Honors Program for the Fall 20 semester, or if you are a returning student for the Honors Program, we encourage you to make sure that you are registered for your required honors courses. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Ms. Poe or Ms. Terry Paul Smith. All honors program activities will be held in a virtual format, and more information about that is to come for the students. Our library services have been operating in a virtual format as well. All services are online and will continue to be online. However, The library will open in mid-August, and our public hours are from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 2:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. Again, we encourage you to use our virtual services. However, the library will be open for normal operations. Upon entering the building for any reason, you are required to wear a face mask. If you fail to bring your face mask, we will provide a disposable mask for you. However, you are required to wear your face mask. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing everyone virtually this fall.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. We'll now hear from Dean Gilliam Johnson and Ms. Terry Jeffries.
Thank you, Dr. DeLauder. Next slide, please. I am going to present to you, along with my assistant dean, the transition plan for the School of Graduate Adult and Extended Studies. The School for Graduate Adult and Extended Studies includes the offices of Graduate Studies and Research, which also includes graduate admissions, testing, adult and continuing education, distance education and learning technology, which involves online courses, Blackboard, and other online and distance programming, and professional degree programs. The school also covers facilities in Wilmington, Dover, and Georgetown. For the 2020 fall semesters, all offices within the School of Graduate Adult and Extended Studies will be opened, but with alternating staff scheduling. Remote work will continue as much as possible with little disruption, much like what's happened over since March. Masks and social distancing will be required at all times when interacting with the staff. As many of you know, our testing for SAT, GREs, and MCATs was discontinued as a result of the COVID virus, but will resume at the end of August and upon the opening of the university. Testing will be offered online and in person with safety measures in the Thomason building. Testing services and scheduling inquiries may be obtained at the website, at the website that you see listed, which is testing@dsu.edu. Professional degree courses offerings in Wilmington, that is the Masters of Business Administration, Masters of Public Administration, the Masters of Sport Administration, and the Masters of Social Work will continue to be offered online and synchronous. Georgetown courses will continue to be offered online and synchronous. In addition to online Bachelors of Social Work and the TESOL courses, we will also be offering additional online courses in Georgetown in psychology, general management, education, and public health. Next slide, please. I will now turn things over to the Assistant Dean, Terry Jeffries, to talk about our online and distance services.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Gilliam Johnson. On this past summer, we offered our online learning strategies and online orientation. So this will continue to, we ran it as a pilot this summer for our virtual Summer Academy program. The online learning strategies and how to navigate the Blackboard learning management system course will be available to all students beginning on August the 1st. You will be mass enrolled into that online orientation course, and we hope that you will definitely take advantage of that ahead of this term starting. DSU Online continues to have a 24/7, 365 support services are available for any user, both faculty and student users, throughout the semester. And so if you're having any questions or challenges or while you're navigating your online course or your synchronous course, you can certainly call that toll-free number. It is available in Blackboard when you log into the learning management system. So definitely remember that it's single sign-on, so your same email address and password that you use for signing into your email address will be the same credentials required for logging into Blackboard. We will also offer a live virtual Blackboard onboarding session that will be available the first week, full week of classes. So look out in your DSU email address email as it relates to that opportunity to interact with our distance education and Blackboard team. As we say, we have a number of fully online programs here at Delaware State University, and those fully online programs are listed there below. Our undergraduate in accounting, general management with a concentration in human resource management, psychology, and public health, both of which you can receive a certification in our CADC credential. Our graduate programs are the Master of Science in Nursing, Masters in Public Administration, Sports Administration, Business Administration, and Social Work. All of those programs will continue to run as fully online programs. Next slide, please. Thank you. And here we have a transition plan for our faculty. These are opportunities for our faculty to be trained over the next month and throughout the fall semester. So listed here are some dates we will be training our faculty. And so please make note of these. It has gone out to all faculty via the Blackboard email address. So if you have any questions, all of these sessions will be recorded and available for our faculty. We certainly encourage our faculty to continue to use the online readiness community because we're constantly updating information there for you. Next slide.
Great. Thank you, Drs. Gillian Johnson and Ms. Terry Jeffries from our Graduate Adult and Extended Studies. We will now hear from our College of Ag Science and Technology.
Good morning. My name is Dalrymple Marsh, and I serve as the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Science, and Technology, otherwise known as CAST. Thank you for attending today's forum. I can confidently say that the faculty, staff, and administration of CAST are working diligently to institute best practices that will allow us to provide an enjoyable, engaging, and rigorous educational experience in the safest environment for our students this fall. We are reducing the college's footprint on campus, but we will at the same time have the staffing on campus to address all the expressed needs of our students. Please be reminded that CAS has as its main goal the success and safety of our students. Our faculty will hold classes at a regular scheduled time. These classes will be virtual, face-to-face, allowing for real-time interaction, with the exception of a few laboratory courses that require hands-on learning. CAS classes can be delivered virtual, face-to-face. We are actively developing workaround for these constraints that are encountered in these laboratory courses. However, this may change depending upon the results of testing and tracing protocols employed by the university. Our faculty will hold virtual office hours at predetermined times. This will allow students additional time to engage with professors for clarification purposes and assistance when the opportunity presents itself. The CAS faculty have participated in several professional development training activities that are equipped with tools and techniques to better engage our students in a virtual face-to-face platform. The use of GoPro cameras for live and recorded lectures and labs will become commonplace. We will make every attempt to be available to our students while practicing all the safety protocols established by the state and federal government. The departmental offices within CAS will be open for business. Educating our students is our primary responsibility, but it must be done safely. As a result, safety shields are being installed to protect all CAS faculty, staff, and students in areas where social distances is difficult to obtain. Next slide, please. In the STEM areas Opportunities for internship and research are critical for student success. We are working to make sure that the research and internships are available in a safe environment for all involved. Partnerships that allowed us to bring off-campus expertise to our students continues. There will be virtual seminars from government, academic, industry, and other private sector leaders. For that much, we are having a seminar today for our summer undergraduate researchers with our industry partner, FMC. I will now turn the presentation over to Dr. Matthew Tanzi, a faculty member in the Division of Physics, Engineering, Mathematics, and Computer Science, who has great success with and also enjoys using online virtual face-to-face course delivery method. Dr. Tanzi.
Thank you, Dean Marsh. Next slide, please. So I'd like to just talk a little bit about what I will be doing in the fall. So I've found that the online teaching with the use of face-to-face methods can actually be really effective. And I've had a lot of success in the spring, and I want to, in the fall, to take use of a few lessons I've learned and build a really successful course for my students. So how are we doing this? So the first thing I've learned is it's really important for students to be able to pay full attention to a lecture. And this is one of the advantages of doing things through Blackboard Collaborate or other face-to-face softwares. So one thing I would be doing is I'll be preparing notes for all of my examples that will be available to students before class begins to download. This allows students to pay full attention to the lecture without having to write down their own notes, which can be really difficult in front of a computer. I will also be recording all of my sessions for students that cannot attend class on that specific day. With all of the disruptions we have from COVID-19, it's really difficult to attend every single class. So I try to take that into account and accommodate students that have various disasters going on or just can't make a class for whatever reason. Another note is I try to split up my recordings by each example, allowing students to select a recording that meets their needs. So if they're having difficulty with integration, they can find a specific example on that type of integration to watch a recording of. Another thing I'll be doing is I'll be allowing students to download recordings. So this is a little bit of an extra step that I think is really important for students to be able to grab these recordings, put them on their iPad, and then when they're on the bus or just in some area without a good connection, they can still make use of these. Now, what I think is the most important thing in doing an online class is engagement. If you're not engaged, you're not learning well. So one of the things I do is after I've done some examples, I try to build examples for students, for you guys to work on. So you can reinforce the lessons. And to make this more collaborative and more engaging, I make extensive use of polls. So polls is one of the best features of Blackboard Collaborate. And by using these polls, I can give a little bit of guidance on how to work a problem while I see how students are doing so I don't end the example too early. Now, in addition to class, another really important thing is office hours. It's important to be available. So I try, of course, to answer all of my emails, but during office hours, I think it's really important to also offer this face-to-face engaging conversation. So in the spring semester, I held my office hours through WebEx, and I built a single session that repeated every day so students could use a single link to get into that office hours. I think it's really important that accessing office hours should be an easy task. It shouldn't be something where you need to look up a sheet and see, okay, on Thursday, I can get into office hours this way. In the fall semester, I'll be holding my office hours through Collaborate, a different hosting service than WebEx. And I'll be doing this by holding it in my course room, which has, again, a single link all semester long, which will allow students to always get into office hours the same way. And I think that's a really important thing, because if office hours are hard to come to, what's the point? Thank you for all of your time.
Thank you, Dean Marsh and Dr. Tansey. We'll now hear from our College of Business, Dean Caston and Dr. Das.
Good morning, Delaware State University, and specifically my College of Business family. Again, my name is Michael H. Casson. I am the Dean of the College of Business. We are excited to launch our fall 2020 semester and thus have diligently prepared a safe and enriching educational environment. To this end, I will go through each major and outline our hybrid formats. So as noted on the slide, starting with the BS in accounting, all courses in accounting will be held hybrid, which is virtual synchronous face-to-face plus remote activity. For our business management department, our general management, marketing, MIS, human resources, entrepreneurship minor as well, will all be, again, all courses will be held via a hybrid format. In this case, virtual synchronous face-to-face plus remote activity. For our Bachelor of Science in Finance, our Financial Economics, Finance and Banking, and our CFP minor, all courses will again be held via virtual synchronous face-to-face plus remote activity. For our BS in HTM, one course, which is our Food Production Management course, will be held via a hybrid in-person synchronous face-to-face plus remote activity. To this end, the HTM program will have a special session to speak specifically about the details around the Food Production Management course on July 29th at 1 p.m. So look forward to receiving some information and details regarding that specific session. For our Bachelor of Science in Aviation, the following courses as listed will be held in a hybrid in-person synchronous face-to-face plus remote activity format. That's Aviation 102, Aviation 103, Aviation 202, 301, 401, and 402. All other courses will be held via a virtual synchronous face-to-face plus remote activities. Again, for aviation, a special session will be in place on July 27 at 9 a.m. to discuss the specifics of each one of these courses. Finally, we have sports management. All sports management courses will be held via the virtual synchronous face-to-face and remote activity hybrid format. For those internships that are offered via sports management, they will also follow the guidelines set forth by the respective division. Now I will actually turn it over to one of our distinguished faculty members who will discuss how we leverage technology to ensure student success. Dr. Nandita Das. Next slide, please.
Can you hear me? Good morning,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Hi, this is Nandita Das, and I am just going to tell you about my experiences, both kind of all of us got into a COVID-19 situation without getting prepared for it. But what I realized, I'm going to give you just 3 pointers to that. First pointer is the Gen Z students that we serve are very much at ease with virtual class environment. Of course, they appreciate the mentoring and the guidance from the teacher facilitator. We use different technologies, like we could be using video feedback. Having a Slack channel for class communication would be equally beneficial. Not to say that emails are not important, but other tools may be more attention grabbing for our Gen Z students. Having said that, please realize that I always claim that I am not a techie, but I have used technology successfully to help me do my job better. So the next point is creating short videos. Of course, we would record our synchronous class, but at the same time, creating short videos on difficult content is very effective. Actually, I did that for my spring 2020 class, and I have some survey results from that which show very good student satisfaction from those micro learning units. The biggest advantage being, for example, if I were teaching them Excel or even financial planning software, they could literally have that video, that micro learning unit, a 3-minute video open up there. They could stop it, they could rewind it. So that helps recall and also avoids cognitive overload for the students. And that has been very, very beneficial. The third point, which many of my colleagues have already mentioned, is students value feedback, very important. So formative assessments do play a big role in the success of our hybrid teaching environment, may it be face-to-face, synchronous, or even a total online environment. Formative assessment has a big role to play. Of course, all of these has been made possible by technology. And we don't have to be a techie, as I can say from my own experience. I like to learn the tools only to the amount that it helps me do my job better. And I say this, if I can do it, all of you can do it, because it is, there is a learning curve, but it is very effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Casson and Dr. Das. We'll now move to our College of Health and Behavioral Sciences, Dean Marche Horton and Dr. Cara Gomez.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marche Horton, and I serve as the Dean for the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences. Greetings. We want your return to campus to be as smooth as possible, but we recognize that sometimes you will have questions and you will want to meet with your chair or with me. Most meetings will occur virtually via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or WebEx, but there may be times when an in-person meeting is desired. Those can be arranged by appointment, as we will have scheduled times in the office. Next slide, please. Regarding course delivery, as with all other colleges, the majority of courses will be offered in a synchronous hybrid format. In the Department of Psychology, all courses will be offered that way. However, in the other departments within this college, there are some courses that will include an in-person component. For kinesiology, there's the CPR course. It has 2 components. The first part is online course delivery. Dr. Cara Gomez is the instructor for that course, and you will hear from her in a few minutes regarding some of the interesting ways she engages her students. The second component is in person. You have to actually demonstrate that you know how to give CPR. That would be important, don't you think? In social work, there's the practicum course, also with 2 components. The first component is online course delivery. The second component is an extended placement in a local social worker agency, school, or hospital. The field component is 2 days per week for 200 hours. Local placements can be arranged. And then there's nursing. Nursing is one of those programs that require a lot of hands-on participation. Yes, there is online course instruction, but there will also be labs and clinical experiences that will take place virtually, in our simulation labs on campus, and in actual medical settings. Of course, the placements in medical settings will only occur in those facilities with which we have signed agreements and are contingent upon their policies and procedures during that phase of the reopening. Next slide, please. As parents and students, you may have concerns about online delivery, and you have already heard from some of our great faculty regarding how they do this. Allow me to introduce you to Dr. Cara Gomez, a faculty member in the kinesiology department. She teaches several courses, including lifetime fitness and wellness, anatomy and physiology, and CPR. She and her father recently co-authored a book on creating and facilitating online courses. Today, she is going to briefly share with you some of the principles she applies to her classes to engage her students. Dr. Gomez? You might be on mute. We still can't hear you. No.
I teach the kinesiology department, which by tradition is a lot of skills-based. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. Go ahead. And now we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I teach in the kinesiology department. Ah, perfect. Okay. So by tradition, a lot of our classes are okay. I think there might be a little delay. So like Matthew said, I use the same principles that I use in my classroom that I use in the virtual environment. And like Matthew said, the idea is to engage the students. So one way that I do this is by using active learning exercises during my classes. In Lifetime Fitness and Wellness, which I'm teaching this summer, I do this by passively delivering some content and then doing an active learning activity. So this is how it might look. I just taught them about the respiratory system and cardiovascular. I drew out the heart and I drew out the pathway of blood through the heart. That was the passive delivery of my content. Then we played a game. I erased all my labeling and notes and I picked a student. I said, Daryl, where are we now? And I drew an arrow on my chart. He said the right atrium. I said, perfect. Now we're going to go through the steps of the heart and then you're going to pick the next student to tell us the next step. So he called on Yolanda. Yolanda said, okay, after the right atrium, it should go through the tricuspid valve. Then Yolanda picked the next student and the next student. And as they talked themselves through the pathway of the heart. So that's a way that I do a passive delivery of my content and then an active learning activity. CPR is another class that's a heavy skills-based class and skills that you want people to know properly. So the way I do this is I create videos and I have checklists and rubrics for the students and they watch those, then they make their own videos. And we exchange videos via YouTube and an app called Flipgrid. So I'm able to give them feedback about hand positioning or what they're doing correctly, what they might need to improve. And then at the end of the semester, they're going to come in and do their skills check off. We're going to have individual stations for each participant, their own mannequin, their own supplies. But I've done CPR online for over a year now, not just with COVID. And it works out great because they practice so much in the online portion of the class. By the time they come in for skills checkoffs, they're perfectly ready and skilled for their final. One last thing I do when I'm doing live lectures is I keep people engaged by little activities while I'm talking. One way I do this is I say, okay, I'm going to tell you about the function of water in the body, how it helps our body. But I'm going to take breaks every once in a while and I'm going to call on a student, and whoever I call on has to summarize whatever I just said or give me the last example. And this keeps people keeping notes, staying up with the lecture, and keeping involved with me. So those are just two of the strategies, that active and passive exchange of information during a class and little things to keep them engaged while I'm talking. But in my book, I have 29 other strategies that I use, and the classes are engaged and we help our students meet the outcomes.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez. Students, we look forward to seeing you in the fall. Dr. DeLaura, that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Dean Horton and Dr. Gomez. We will move to our final unit, the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences. Next slide, please. Dean Edwards and Dr. Ortner-Taylor.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Daughter, thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to speak. The CHESS team has been working since March to ensure that the fall is a productive semester and safe for our faculty, staff, and students. We will be adhering to all DSU risk management and CDC guidelines. And to this end, we have submitted requests for proper PPE, plexiglass shields in offices. Our administrative team will be working remotely, and our chairs will hold limited on-campus office hours. And as Dean Horton said, office hours can be arranged in person if our students need to meet with our chairs. Our faculty have been committed to having these virtual and flexible meetings to meet the needs of our students, but our primary goal is to work remotely as much as possible to ensure the safety of everyone. The team in CHESS has migrated all of our courses to online, and our chairs have worked with faculty who teach those courses in labs, specifically mass comm, music, and art, and we'll be working with those students that have practicums and internships as well to ensure that those students have safe access to those lab spaces and to complete the work that they need to complete. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So in August, when our courses resume, like I said, our faculty will work with those students who have labs in music, art, and mass comm. Our administrative team will have limited office hours, but we will be working remotely. And we will have shifts so that someone will be manning the office in the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences. We will work with faculty to plan virtual events. Dr. Derek Thompson, who is our Director of Choral Activities, is already working with the Philadelphia Opera to create one such engagement opportunity. November, we will follow the same guidelines that everyone's following, and we will not return to school, but we will have remote work after Thanksgiving, and we will end our semester on December 11th. Again, we are working to ensure that our students are safe. Our faculty, even though they're off during the summer, many of the faculty in my college have been doing training on their own. They have still been meeting with their chairs. So I want to say thank you to all of them for their commitment to making sure that when we return, our students are able to hit the ground running and be productive in this asynchronous hybrid environment. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ortner-Taylor, who has put together a presentation that's being used by our distance learning to just educate faculty about the difference between online versus remote instruction. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edwards. I just put a quick presentation together for some of my colleagues to talk about the differences between remote, what I would call remote learning and online instruction. And it was based on my experiences over the summer where I'd literally gone from one semester of doing synchronous education to doing online education. And they were very, very different experiences. And I thought that it would be important that we discuss the difference between this idea of online instruction where everything was prepared from day one, where students worked a bit more independently, to the synchronous model that we used in the spring, where students really had much more consistent contact with instructors. Of course, with the synchronous model, there was consistent feedback, there were consistent times to touch base, so instructors and students were on the same page, whereas in the online model, students worked a lot more independently. They worked at their own pace, and there was communication, but oftentimes with the normal delays of emails and those types of things. I think, without going through the entire presentation, I think what we've been able to say through the course of today is that the online instruction and the remote delivery that we're offering at DSU are very, very different. The remote, the synchronous model that we're using is much, much more in line with what we experience on an everyday in our face-to-face experiences. And I think that, you know, in a nutshell, that really explains what it is that we're doing and how DSU is making its mark moving forward to keep our students engaged in the academic process. Thank you very much, Dr. Edwards.
Dr. DeLauder, that concludes our presentation. And again, I want to thank all of my faculty because during the summer, they have been doing what matters. Take care and thank you.
Thank you, Dean Edwards and Dr. Taylor. I realize that we're running short, but I do hope that we'll be able to stay on for a few extra minutes to field any questions from our public. Russell, are there any questions?
Yeah, this is
Daryl. Are there any questions?
Yeah. What is the academic plan for aviation students? Will pilot
Okay.
students be required to live and attend classes on campus?
So yes, I think Dean Casson did answer that question in his presentation. He noted that there is a follow-up meeting on the 27th. And all of the deans are working with housing to make sure that we are getting our list of prioritized areas that we've defined here with face-to-face instruction, that they are sent to housing for prioritization.
How will distribution of iPads and MacBooks happen, and when will it happen?
Dr. Watson is going to address that.
Okay. Yes. So iPad and MacBook distribution will not be initiated until after the ad drop period is over. And the reason for that is to make sure every student is completely registered and cleared. So it usually occurs the first Monday after the ad drop period. Now, how they will be distributed is that information is going to be disseminated at a later date. But for those students who are on campus, there will be a pickup site on campus. For students who are not physically here, different arrangements will be made. But again, that information will be disseminated later. If you want more information about the iPad and laptop distribution, please go to the DSU homepage and in the search bar, type Digital Student Universe. It will take you to the page and it will give you all of the information that you need. Thank you.
If we're chosen to be fully online, will the classes only be 8 weeks or will it be for the full length?
I'll address that, but then I'll ask Ms. Jeffries to follow up. I believe all of the programs that are designated online are running in 8-week sessions. So I will make that assumption, but I will ask Terry to follow up.
Yes, ma'am, Dr. Dollar, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions?
I'll just do one more, Dr. DeLauder. When will the fall calendar be distributed?
Okay, so I will apologize that the calendar has not been disseminated until this point. We are working with enrollment management to make sure that all of our dates are finalized. It should be available next week.
And that'll be the last question that we'll ask Dr. DeLauder.
Great. So again, I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you and serving you during the fall semester. Take care.